Okay, here we go. Live on time. Point coming free of charge. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 216th live edition of Long Time Coming, High Anticipated, Nib Duplicated, Often Supplicated, Underappreciated NBLU program. The program feature Nickel, Standard, Penny, Compensated, Talents, William Bishop, Blake Everett, Staple, Mediator, Moderators. Third round draft pick, name later. 3 people, 2 attempts, 1 dream. Broadcasting's finest train wreck. The only show in town. It's a Corey and Media presentation, YouTube, iTunes, available on Spotify, Anchor FM, etc. So if you miss this audio, if you miss this, you can catch the audio on Spotify. Make sure you go in there. Enough about you, all slammed together, no spaces. And now here he is for the vacationing Badger. It is MojoD. Welcome everybody. Let me put MojoD's stuff up there and shout. How are you, man?
Hello. I'm good.
I have a prediction on what you would say when I ask you this question. You've been how long have you been streaming? When did you start?
When did I start? A bit over 3 years ago.
And 3 years ago, you elected to not go with a face cam.
Yeah.
And suddenly, a brief 3 years in, you elected to finally turn one on. What made you do that? Why now?
It actually came from doing a whole lot of other PC upgrades recently.
Was it just PC thing? Just PC just never bothered because you had a PC that was struggling, or what?
No, it was actually, well, not so much PC, it was actually the monitor. I had to replace one of the monitors. It was, the old monitor actually started burning in quite badly.
Oh, really? Burn in? Is that a thing still?
Yeah. Well, this monitor's... So the 2 monitors I have are for Dell's, and they're from about 2012.
Oh, okay.
And so, yeah, they're well used.
You got your money's worth, right?
Got my money's worth out of that, and they weren't cheap monitors too, so that's a plus.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And so there you go. That was all right. Let me minimize this thing right here. Okay, now I can see everything. All right, good. Well, good.
And it snowballed from there because got the monitor. I was like, yeah, well, I'm always short on network ports as well, so I was like, maybe I'll get a switch as well, and that led to some more cables and some other things.
Mm-hmm.
Interestingly enough, I actually had the parts to do it all this time, even more. So what I'm using is a video camera, which I got in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
It's a capture card that it plugs into that I've had since, I think I bought that in 2011.
Wow.
And what else was there? The light that I use that's on top of the camera, I've had that with for as long as I've had the cameras.
Really? So you've had everything ready?
So I just had all the pieces all this time. Admittedly, there was a lot of technical problems getting the capture card to work in Windows 10. I had tried to do it before, like over a year ago, and I remember I set up in OBS, did a few scene switches where you switch in and out of the camera, and the computer just blue screens.
It crashed, like blue screen.
Yeah,
blue
like
screen
hardcore crash.
Oh.
As well as that, the last time I checked it beforehand, before currently getting it working, the capture card would say out of range no matter what the camera output.
Really? Oh, okay. Plasma LCD and OLED displays can get burn-in. I was kind of on the very edge of the CRTs and getting into computers, right? But the bulbous screens that were not flat. Those I remember you could get burn-in. But since then, since the LED TVs that are the LEDs that I've swapped out, I've got 3 LEDs. 2 of them are Dells. No, one of them is a Dell because there was a Dell.com deal flashed my way, and it was like $94 for a 23-inch monitor. And I went, oh, I'm looking for a third one anyway. Bam, not LEDs, LCDs. Okay. OLED is LCD. Oh, okay. So if your LED, burn-in's really not a thing, correct?
LED just means LED backlight instead of a compact fluorescent. So it's still an LCD.
Right.
display.
Plasma, I understand, is hot and can get burn in. They may have LEDs acting as backlight for the LCD screen. Oh, okay. All right. Well, interesting. Okay. So monitors wore out, and then you just started tinkering with stuff you already had, and then so no
Just
extra.
start rearranging it.
So it wasn't really. Was it a driver because of your streaming business, like that side, or I mean you're far more successful than I am most times, right? And with no face cam than I have been with a face cam and telling dick jokes and all my other stuff that I do, right? But I guess it's weird. Why now? Did it just occur? It was a circumstance, and you figured, well, maybe I'll just go ahead and see how it goes since I'm upgrading a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, it was circumstance because it was an opportunity to clean up the setup, and then it was also looking at the stats and saying, all right, how can I improve the stream? Because things have been cruising, but nothing's really going or gain. Things aren't like you want to see some kind. I want to keep seeing growth, and it's starting to flatline.
Right. Okay.
It's like, okay, what can I do different?
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I would have guessed. I mean, you and I have had many conversations about emotes, and you've had a bunch more emote slots than you've used because you've had analysis paralysis, right? That's
I had that bad.
That's your thing.
It took a year to sort that out.
Yeah, right. And I would have figured. I had this question down. I was like, oh yeah, we'll talk about his face cams. That's a big deal. And I said, I bet you he's going to tell me he just was on the fence about it for a year and a half or 3 years or something like that.
There was a time when I wasn't for it.
Uh-huh.
And then it's been on my mind since I sorted out the branding and actually got that arranged
Right.
and overcame that analysis paralysis.
Well, good. Yeah, that's good. It's kind of important because you're. I talked to. We actually talked about that. I was talking with some of the Factorio guys on Friday nights, and they were saying, yeah, it's weird. I always imagined him as a koala. It's weird to know that he's not a koala. Yeah. So there you go. That's good. Oh well, I'm proud of you taking the step. It's super good, man. It's a thing. The most, I would say, most successful streamers. I mean, look at the top 50 streamers on Twitch or on Mixer or whatever it is. I would say 48 of the 50 have face cams, right?
Yeah, you got to do it.
Yeah.
To get anywhere, because it does add another layer of connection with you.
Right. It is. There's emotional connections to the people, and you do connect with other humans based on their facial expressions, and there's mirroring that goes on. You're surprised, they're surprised, etc. So
there's another thing you can play with as well, because I can now work with facial expressions, that sort of thing, and
Right.
and add another layer in. I've been using that to an effect.
Can I rotate this 180 degrees? Flip vertical. There you go. There you go. I flipped it. There
Perfect.
you go. Perfect. There it is. How about that? There. That should reach you about now. Mojo, you should see on the screen.
Yeah.
Just flipped it around. All right. Well, good. Hey, did you get the partner newsletter from Twitch?
No.
You didn't. Oh, okay.
So
Well,
down here it's actually kind of strange. Are you about to say something that they're supposed to be keeping hush hush?
no. No, there is one. Okay, so you got the one that they asked us to keep hush hush,
I
right?
got that through other sources.
Okay.
Maybe actually, how about I'll break down how it works here. So
Yeah.
we don't get the global newsletter. We get our own one, which is trickle fed down. So the AM here, those guys or AMs here, they take what comes from the newsletter and then repackages it for us in an email.
Really?
And yeah, so it's he gives us a list of what's going on, all the new things, new people, and then a breakdown of what's in the newsletter. But he said that there's going to be automated and part of the global, which apparently hasn't happened yet.
Really? That's very weird. Yeah. The interesting part about it. So there's two things. One of them was the title is April Partner Newsletter, and I got it on May 15th.
That's the first point.
So the email was from May 15th. Doesn't have any it doesn't have any of the confidential stuff in it. It's just partner news. It says April Partner Newsletter. And of course, one of the bullet points is starting on April 2nd, this feature, that feature, whatever. It's like it was a hype train update, right? It was something you're doing with the hype train, right?
You also note that they said April 2nd, not April 1st. So first day of the month.
Right. But April 2nd, let me look at what that was. That was a Thursday. I guess they didn't want to start on a Wednesday. It was a I don't know. It's weird. Okay, yeah. It was weird. Right. This partner newsletter is very strange. I asked Badger about it. We were running out of time on one of the ones. I asked. I wanted to unpack this, but we were at like the end of one other show that we were doing. This April partner newsletter is very strange. One, it was the title was April Partner Newsletter, and I got it on May 15th, and it was talking about things that were coming as if it was composed in March, right? Because it says starting April 2nd, we're going to have these things, right?
Yeah.
So this is really information from March that arrived in my inbox on May 15th, which is
middle of May.
The middle of May, right? Which is weird. So a couple interesting things. None of these are hush hush. That link is something I can't see. I can't share the link. I can talk about that. Okay. The one that was starting on it was Hype Train Updates. It says starting on April 2nd, custom creator emote slots let streamers update their Hype Train public call out with an emotes from their subscription inventory. So that they would like to, I guess they could update their Hype Train public call out. You have a public call out for Hype Trains. That's weird. Does that mean, is that across the top of the board? It starts throwing those emotes in? I guess that's what the call out is.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you got me curious, so I'm checking my email to see if I had that. I actually didn't get one for April. I got one for March, and then one for May.
Really? You did not get an April one? Okay. The title of the email is April Partner Newsletter.
It's just lost in the ether now.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Some stuff for mod views. They're making improvements for mod views. Offline channel pages, which were already here by the time I got this email.
Yeah. This is in my May one.
That's in your May one. Oh, okay. Well, they.
Oh yeah, partner monthly update, April 2020.
Okay. So it's titled differently.
Yeah, so this is packaged inside. This is.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yours is Yours is Yours is curated, right?
Yeah, mine's curated because it has a bunch of other localized stuff in it.
Okay. Weird. Right. So instead of so instead of like PogChamp in the Hype Train call out on the banner, you can use your own emotes like how follows train or whatever from the Hype Train. Okay. I got it. That's the call out. So the call out is just the banner that goes across the top, right? Okay. So that's a thing. I guess I could put in my bunch of my clown stuff in there because I got some good emotes now. I'm liking it. Yeah, and Follows has shared with us in chat. That's a good emote. I mean, of course, Follows runs trains all the time in Factorio, so trains are a part of his streaming. But yeah, there you go. I guess that's the one. So you can throw that down. The other one was
to talk to the AM actually because I saw that he left this note saying that because this is one that actually says that they're moving to the automated mail, so I need to talk to him because I didn't get. Well, I need to wait till next month actually.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah, this one is the offline channel page is very interesting. Let me see if I can go to the 3-frame. Nope, not that one. It is the display one. Okay, so that's me up there. So we can cut that one. And then, let me see if I can do this again. Image. Thing. All right, let me set up this deal. For those who are listening in, okay, I'm going to do some OBS work here. Let's put him back up there. Our koala. There you go. Yeah, I've got a lot of hype train emotes. Mostly not from me. I'm usually in other people's. Hang out in Badger Stream, you'll get them. Shoot. There you go. There's the upside down. And now, the Chrome, not the monitor.
You mean right way up?
There we go. Chrome properties. Okay. This one is not chatty. That is it. Okay, here we go. Now we're showing the thing over there. There you go. So this is the Twitch page. It's actually showing who I'm hosting. But your offline channel page will show you have this little splash page that doesn't immediately go into whoever you're hosting. Goes into stuff about you. I broke 9K followers. How about that?
Oh, nice.
Yay. Okay, I just noticed that. I was always sitting at 8,800, 8,900, etc. And as it's about, you can customize it for your channel. You can put a welcome video that's 60 seconds right up here, which we got a demo of that from Dr. B. You remember seeing that, or was it Dr. B? No, DJ Wheat did it. I was confused those two. I think it's their I don't think both have beards. Both of them are handsome. They this guy is pretty good. So you can have it's like your YouTube splash page, right, where they land on your channel, and you have a video that immediately starts playing and engages your audience and says, "Hi, my name is Blake, and I do the thing. I do videos. What sets me apart is this, and here, come in, check out all my channel, check out all my videos, etc." And you can have a little intro thing, as long as it's 60 seconds, and that'll play right here, which is great. And then if you don't have anything, which I don't, it'll either show who you're hosting right now, which is us in here, or you can go to like a recent clip or something like that, which is, I guess it's good, but I almost always hit this button and skip right over there. I want to go right to it. I actually
wonder what the reach is on those auto run videos.
Right.
Auto play videos.
Yeah, me too. So, well, the ones on YouTube, I don't mind them playing. I want them muted though. Right?
Yeah, which basically is the same thing as not having them.
Well, if I could, or if it says, if I have a video that starts playing, or at least an option says click to play the intro or something, but because when I'll frequently go to a streamer's page to go find or a YouTuber's page to find their latest video, because I want to keep them in series, and it's kind of annoying to have the volume immediately kick on. I wouldn't mind like a 5-second delay if I land on that page and have it start counting down before it plays, as long as it's muted. But I land on their channel because I either have their channel bookmarked, their video bookmarked, or I find their name. Most often, I'm on my YouTube homepage. I'm getting offered up videos of my favorite YouTuber, but I want to make sure it's in order. So, like if it's someone who's putting their podcast out there, on my YouTube homepage, I'll get number 141, but I don't want to watch it if I haven't seen 140. So I instead of clicking on 141 and watching it, I'll click on their name, which gets their page, which starts that annoying, "Hey everybody, hi, I'm Blue," their intro page. And then I'll go make sure it's the latest video, and if not, I'll start catching up. I'll catch up to 141. So that's my path, and that's what this feels like to me. So I haven't really put an intro page on here. I like this one because I don't know if this is unmuted or not, because I almost always have my Twitch and Chrome muted by default, so that I can come in here and do that sort of thing, right? I don't
think it is
always.
muted.
It's not.
Just start playing. The layout of you got to be said, the layout of it is a bit strange.
It is. It takes a little bit of getting used to, right? Yeah, and it also tell you who I'm hosting, right? And then this is a context sensitive page. It'll say, check out, here's my VOD and the thumbnail, whatever from the VOD, right? It tells you to check out the latest video, etc. Does that immediately start playing? Do you know? Is that autoplay?
Well, you can test it.
Yeah, I guess. Yes. Land on. Well, do it on Badger Stream, because he's not. I know he's offline. By the way, Badger's working on equipment stuff. So,
yeah, it came up, but it's actually playing muted for me.
Oh, okay, that's good. Okay, I'm good with that. It's the opposite of the annoying. I'm sure the folks at Twitch started that because of what YouTube was doing, and then they see what everybody else is doing. So okay, this is a good idea to have a splash page where you land. We really need to do something other than just land on their channel. Do we want to do this? Should it be muted? Should it not? What buttons do we want to see there? Right.
And if it's hosting in the old page, you couldn't actually see Stream Team or anything like that, because it would all be hidden by the page that's being. So you'd lose out on a whole lot of functionality.
Right. Right, but most times I want to go straight to chat because I either want to, see their panels or whatever. I don't know. I almost always bypass all this business and I go straight to this chat because I want the chat window or something. Right. Twitch bugged out and it came back muted. Okay. All right. That's good to know. Thanks, Darth Lighting. Chat.
My favorite feature is the schedule. We finally have an integrated schedule.
Yay. Yeah, that's good. Let's look at the splash page. Let's see. Let's look at that. Display pick. Yeah, Monday, 3, and yeah, there we go. I guess does it show? Yeah, next stream is on Tuesday. Oh, I got to update mine because I'm planning on going tomorrow. There you go. Saturday.
It does pick up by what your past streams have been.
Can you? Can you edit it?
Yeah, you can edit it. It's funny. It takes you to a completely different. It takes you to your
dashboard
channel page, dashboard channel page,
right?
To edit it. It's in a weird place.
Yeah. Yeah, I go here about once every 2 months and I do a bunch of work in my dashboard, then I leave it and I usually forget about it. I don't usually sit on my dashboard page much. I don't start. The only thing I do from a dashboard page routinely is start squad streams from there. Right. That's the most common thing I'll do. I'll occasionally look at analytics, but I got that bookmarked on the tab. So, oh mansies, okay, interesting. But yeah, we have an integrated schedule. That's great. Yeah, next stream is on. It tells you the next stream. That's pretty good. I do like that part.
Yeah, it's really good. It means you don't have to rely on one of the extensions anymore, which may or may not work.
Yeah, and Twitch is supporting it versus some third party who may abandon it, etc. The other one I want an integrated closed caption that I could turn on and off. Or actually, no, that viewers can turn on and off, right?
Oh, yes. It's a separate layer so that if people don't want the closed captions, then they can turn it off.
Yes.
Instead of just having it spam.
So one of the extensions that I found... So there was the first extensions I found with closed captioning is I saw it on some other streamer. I think it might have been Alicia Griffin's channel. It was just part of your OBS, so a viewer could not turn it off, right? And I got mixed reactions from that. They said, "Oh, it's great," et cetera, and then others were, "Oh, this is horrible. How do I turn this off?" etc. So
yeah, and then they can't because it's baked into the video.
it's baked into the original video. The second one I found for closed captions was an extension that made it as a layer. It was one of your 2 layers that you could turn on and off, right? Same thing with the you know how you can display top. You know, you can display stuff over the screen like Amazon, or if you're playing Dota, there's a couple other ones. You can see what's going on in the Dota game that they're playing. It's got some integrations. See a scoreboard, or I forget. It might have been. There's a Fortnite layer, that sort of thing that has integrations with who has the kills in the match where the streamer's playing, and how does the streamer fare. Every day I'm hustling. Oh, great. We all. But this one was closed captions that the viewer could turn on and off. And I had it going in the background, which was great. I had it defaulted on, but if viewers didn't want it, they could hit the button and
flick it
away, which is great. That's the ideal. But Twitch really should have that. I mean, Netflix has it, YouTube has it, right? You could turn that on and off, and the technology now is such that the AI in these things, it translates on the fly.
Yeah, you can translate on the fly. So if you had transcoding, in theory, there could be something doing that for you.
Yes, correct. So that's exactly the use case, and then it's up to the viewer to do, and that's what the extension did for me. But then the person came by my stream and started talking with me. He says, "Hey, how you liking it? I wanted to see how you're using it, etc." And he asked me about its accuracy and all that. And he says, "Yeah, I'm the one who wrote the extension." Well, then it just stopped working one day, so I ripped it out. So
that's the end of that.
That was the end of that, right? So
that's how it goes with the third-party extension. One day it works, next day it doesn't.
Right. So the issue is, it's a feature that's pretty key to Twitch, but it's supported by a guy who has no affiliation to Twitch. He may have gotten busy at his job and forgot to restart the server that it's running off of. Right.
Yeah. Or if it was ripping it from like a Google service, they pulled the plug on him.
Correct. Right. If he was taking a business advantage for some sort of residential service, right? Because often they'll say, okay, you don't, as long as you're not making money or some official things on this, you're fine to use it. But the minute you start making money, then we got to back charge you for it, right? So yeah, who knows if he was ripping off some sort of Google Translate or a Microsoft Translate. Microsoft's doing the same thing. So yeah, who the heck knows what? But that one disappeared, so I had to shut it off. So that's what I'm hoping for next on Twitch is same thing. And now we have an integrated schedule. We have an integrated like a splash page where you land and then you can sort through some stuff, either video or navigate where you want to go. Integrated closed captioning that Amazon just kind of pays for, or part of AWS that does all of that churning through the audio translating to closed captions. That would be awesome.
Yeah,
that's what I would like.
It really is interesting they haven't, or even astounding that they haven't done it, because that sort of accessibility, it's a big deal.
Yeah,
for,
and
for people who need it.
And how much has it? How long has it been on Netflix? Long time, right?
Oh, I don't even know now. And how long is it? And same with YouTube. I can't remember when they introduced it. It's been around for so long.
Yeah.
Because again, they were pressured into integrate.
Yeah, integrating that closed caption.
And yeah, it's technology, machine learning, text to speech is at the point where there's not really much of an excuse not to have it.
Yeah. The stuff that I took a class. I took like a class on this. There was an expert guy that came to my work and was teaching us about Google search and all of that sort of stuff. Everybody is doing this sort of thing, and I not only in the Google space, but in Microsoft. I went to I guess it was some convention. Remember back when we had conventions? Remember when
those were the days.
Those days when lots of people were able to get into a building together. Yeah, crazy, right? I remember that. But I was in this one, and it was a seminar, kind of a breakout session about AI, and one of the guys, it was two guys doing the instruction, and one of them had this little collar on that I noticed, but he wasn't really using it. So he wasn't messing with it a whole lot. He just had it on, and it had a little blue light on it. And that was the only reason I noticed. It was very subtle. But on the screen was a PowerPoint presentation he was talking through, and at the bottom there were, I guess it was Spanish subtitles.
Oh, yeah.
And what he was, this was a year and a half ago, and what he was doing, he talked through about the first 15 minutes of his presentation, and he said, by the way, guys, here's what I'm talking about is using AI to very quickly translate my words into a known dictionary with sounds and all of this, and it's broadcasting through the internet and back to my PC. It's going through a Microsoft AI engine through Azure and coming back and going to the screen. I've got this plug-in, and it's picking everything up off of this little Bluetooth headset that I've got. And it looked like this. I'm showing it on the deal. It was this little collar that you set on, and it was just like your normal little Bluetooth earbuds. Goes to his laptop. Laptop goes to interwebs. Interwebs goes to Azure. Azure comes back to his screen and translates on the fly. And he says, all right, so does anybody in the audience speak Spanish? And two people raised their hand. And they said, so have you been reading the subtitles on my presentation? And they said yes. And they said, how's the accuracy? Is it good? Is it crappy? And he said, and they both of them said it's pretty damn accurate. So he just explained the process to us. He's like, so that the vision is that no matter what language you're speaking, the audience will be able to, on the fly, translate to whatever language they need, and they'll at least be able to read any subtitle in any language. And right now, Microsoft is up to, I think it was something like 48 languages they have on-the-fly translations, which is crazy, right?
Oh, it's crazy.
It's phenomenal. That's a Babel fish, right?
Only without the. It gave me visions of the old Google Babelfish.
Yeah, but it's you don't have to stick anything in your ear, right? To hear, right? It's cool, right? That's how good we are, and that was a year and a half ago that Microsoft was doing this, and they had 48 languages.
Up from there.
Who else is doing this? Microsoft, big dog Microsoft, big dog Google. Any other big dog companies in there that we can think of? Right? Maybe Facebook, and let's see if there's another big.
Facebook could probably be giving it a go.
Is there another really big company that does all sorts of data types of things?
Would IBM be into that?
Amazon, right? Would Amazon want to do that?
Who would have known it?
How about that?
Who knew?
Does Amazon have a streaming service like Prime? I don't know. Maybe Twitch, maybe some interactive service that wants to do this on the fly. How about that?
Maybe they even have a movie streaming service.
Maybe so.
Which could have integrated.
There is a prime opportunity for Amazon to take prime advantage of this Prime. Okay. All right. Anyway, that's one of the ones that I want to see integrated into this. I would like to not think about that, and like to have the viewer be able to switch which language they want to read subtitles on the fly. And I'm sure if you get hey Manpool, I'm sure that to Darth Lighty's point in chat, if you get someone with either Colonel Will was explaining this to me. There's posh English, which is a lot like, say, Sir Charles,
very
Prince Charles.
Yeah, the very what do you call
refined kind of King's English, right? And then there's what is it? Cockney is the other one.
I believe so. Yeah, Cockney is the working class.
Is the working class? Yeah, there's the posh, and then there's like everybody else, right? I'm sure that both of these Englishes, one of them would be way easier to pick up by the AI than the other one, right? Same as if you'd gotten someone like so my wife is a mix of English and Australian accent, so hers is very dampened. But contrast that to maybe Steve Irwin, right? Who was right, oi, right. It's all English, right? It's all
English. If you looked at the words on paper, it's definitely English.
Right. If a human was scribbling down all of that, you would still we got some English. We understood what English was, but the computer may have a hard time going. What did he say? What does "oi" mean? Is that an O-Y? What is "oi"? And what is "rego"? R-E-J-O? Bottle O? Anyway. Australian humor.
It reminds me of an interaction. I was having a chat with a New Zealander. He had one of the more Maori type accents. It's like, I understand these words that you're saying. Like, individually, they're English, but put them together, I have no idea what any of them mean.
Yeah. I'm sure with that speaks to dialect. So I do not envy the AI's job is to maybe it has to hear several dialect twangs in a row. If it hears 20 different things in the same pattern, it'll go, okay, this is not standard American English. I need to switch over and go to English. And then if it hears 20 more, you go, okay, we're not dealing, it's either posh or Cockney, and here's some more Cockney. Then it'll switch over to Cockney and go, okay, I'm now listening for more things, and maybe it gets better over the course of 5 minutes, So
yeah, it'd have to learn the dialect.
Yeah,
to type.
Yeah, I would imagine it starts very broad when the user says I want to hear in English, and then I would imagine it would have to learn and adapt to dialect as it went on, right?
Yeah.
Interesting. Right. Oh, wait, this is Welsh. This isn't Welsh. This is Brisbane Aussie. That's right. Right. Anyway, that's a really good. That should be a feature, I would say. They'd go a long way, I would say. So hey,
it's a win-win.
It's a win-win.
It's more reach for us.
And the other thing I heard in the Google seminar was that, something like 88% of the planet does not speak English as their native tongue. So therefore, that's the market that Google wants to go after. I mean, they have their base in English. They can't just sit back and assume everyone's going to learn English and be okay with it. That's what started Google. Just sheer numbers started Google down that path. They said, okay, how do we capture America's number 3, and just in terms of population, right? China number 1, India number 2. Those are clearly not. They're clearly very different than English. So that means we gotta have a different basis, right? Different basis of thought, where we can start with English, but we quickly gotta dip out into other languages, right? So hey, I wanted to hear from someone who is not in the U.S. I have a pretty good idea of what's going on in the U.S. with COVID and all of that. How has, I guess, what measures have been taken in your neck of the woods, nationally, locally, or national, state, and local? Like how has it gone for you in terms of like either lockdown or not lockdown, or stuff you used to be able to do but you can't anymore, etc.?
I'd say it's pretty similar here. Like, we've been in lockdown since it's the end of March, but they're just about to start relaxing now. I got to double check the date, because I've been going back and forth. I think there was a breakout in a school recently,
really,
like a few days ago, in New South Wales.
Right, but so for the U.S. nationally we shut off shut off the immigration from China early on. Of course, Trump was called a racist for it. It ended up being a good move. Whether he's racist or not is irrelevant. It ended up being everyone else did it that same week. He may be
Yeah.
crazy racist, but everybody else did it as well.
I try not to pay too much attention to the news because there's always
it's hard to filter
because it's always it's
There is no
always there's always an element of truth, but there's always an element of omitting detail.
there's agenda and there's context which they leave out, right? So nationally, we really didn't do anything other than border restrictions of stuff coming into and out of the U.S., right? And then we put out guidelines. That's it. Of just here, we're going to try and work on supplies, and here's some guidelines. In fact, I got a letter from Donald Trump himself asking me to wash my hands. Like he drew a little heart on it, he scored it with perfume, and sent it to me personally.
It's like they're trying to say lockdown without actually ordering lockdown because they know that everyone will just go crazy.
You can't, right? And you're not going to lock down Americans. So what we were talking about is the difference in Sweden, where Nefrem's is, and difference in telling Swedes, "Hey, man, we need you to stay home." Probably the Swedes are going to be fairly reasonable, and they'll go, okay, and you tell some of the sections of America, "Hey, man, we need you to stay home." They go, "What the fuck? Freedom!" And they'll start shooting their guns in the air. So you can't just come out and go, "Okay, here you go." You can't just do that, right? Americans are going to bow up on that, right?
The impression I get is that the UK is some similar in that regard, is that they have that same element of ultimate freedom. Or the ultimate freedom mindset. Here, there's probably a little bit. Like, I haven't been outside much to really witness it, but overall, it seems to be pretty consistent. I'd say it's on par with most countries.
Right. So then from a statewide, it varies state to state. Some states went crazy lockdown and are very authoritarian type of close it in, and state guidelines and the governor's bringing charges against businesses that open up too early, etc. And a state like North Dakota, they never locked down. They just put some guidelines in place for the older state citizens, as well as issued some guidelines and some social distancing and said, "Look, we're not going to lock down any business. We're going to tell you what to do. Please wash your hands. Please do have some guidelines, etc." And they ended up better off for it because they actually threw that governor a parade in North Dakota. They had a very slight curve of cases, but it wasn't an out explosion like they thought it was.
Hang on, they had a parade for him?
Yeah, it's a her actually. They threw a parade for her because it ended up being the right decision because they got over it fairly quickly, and I think North Dakota is actually going down in daily cases.
It's going down now, yeah.
Yeah, and so, and some states are issuing new laws and new measures and specific, and others are issuing guidelines. Right, there's a difference between guideline and a statute, right? Some of them is do this, etc. So is there a difference like that in Australia? Like, is New South Wales cracking down harder than, say, Victoria?
I think I might need Darth Lighty's because he's in Queensland. Because I think they cracked down harder than like we did down here.
Really? Right.
But it's I think it's generally pretty consistent across the board. I know there's a bit of an east versus west with the western states versus the eastern states.
Yep.
The eastern states tend to all do the same thing, whereas things like WA, which is, they're basically its own country.
Right. Well,
I think they're doing things a little bit different as well.
Well, you kind of have a divide I would say in most countries now, there's a pretty good divide between country and city, like urban and suburban, or urban and rural now, right? With in terms of, even political leanings and values and all of that.
Oh yeah, that's very apparent here.
And east side of Australia is all city, right?
Yeah, it's very urban.
That's where most of the population is, and then the rest of the land belongs to very few people from the snowy mountains on westward. Is the population of about a good sized town, right? The rest owns the rest
town,
of it.
And something to give an idea of the ridiculous size is that I remember last year I was talking with one guy who works for one of the big mobile carriers here, Telstra. He does contract work for them, and one of these farmers, he was complaining that he couldn't get total phone coverage on his property,
Right.
and for any of his workers. And he was like, I want mobile coverage out here. And his property is the size of New Zealand.
His property is the size of New Zealand?
Yeah, it's the size of New Zealand.
Oh, that's insane. Yeah.
And it's like he wants mobile coverage for something the size of New Zealand for 4 people.
Yeah, exactly.
There's the conclusion. It's like, yeah, it's just staggering.
It's staggering. Yeah, the population density once you get past those mountains is so incredibly low. Let me see if I can find this picture here. No, I don't want to go to the picture. I just want to go to the picture. Let's see, open image in new tab. See if that'll work. Yeah, let me see if I can show this. There you go.
I guess the one benefit to that property is you don't have to worry about social distancing.
Right. Yeah.
You're definitely meeting it because you have like 4 or 5 people. That's you could easily be like 100 kilometers separated. Plenty of social distance.
Right. So yeah, and you're not going to see your neighbors for a long time. I mean, and the fact that you may never come in contact with anyone who has got the COVID, right? So there you go. This is a population density map of Australia. You can see where they all are. Like they're down, you can't really go anywhere on Tassie, so it's kind of clumped in there. But this is about it, and this will fit inside of America just about. It's about the size of U.S. Comparable, maybe like 0.96 or so if you just spread it all out. It's comparable. And you see just this vast middle area where it's not only super population thin, but it is almost unlivable, right? Because it gets up to, high 40s C out there and no water, no vegetation. And all the animals out there will try and kill you, right? All the, snakes.
There's some dirt and some dust.
There's some dirt and dust and animals that will kill you sleep fine.
Oh yeah, there's variety of insects that will kill you. It's actually interesting. You can see there's actually some dust in what is essentially just a barren desert.
Yeah, that's it. For a lot of it, right? So that's why and then over here they run the internet on this side, on this west side. That goes to
you can see where the internet is on the west side.
Yeah, you can see where the internet is. It's actually I'm cutting it off a little bit. Let me see if I can. I can't. Is it Alt? Yes, there we go. Ding. That's better. Yeah, you can see on the west side where the internet runs. There's a pipeline, all that. That's Perth. And there's a bunch of internet pipeline that runs through that and goes to the rest of the country. It passes through. I don't know. Anyway, that is so that's what you get with that. So the people over here kind of all have similar values, similar leanings, etc. And then the people out here value different things. And we have similar things in the U.S. population density looks very similar in that both coasts are pretty crowded. And then the middle of the country is, it gets pretty sparse, and they don't, these people out here in the middle don't like the edges telling them what to do. Right? That's a big part of it.
Similar story here.
Yeah,
and they tend to vote either very conservative or very, although. You got to be careful saying that because like when you say like conservatives and liberals, it means very different things depending on the country.
Totally does. It totally does. There's Labour and Liberal is from the Australians, right?
Yeah.
Right, and then
And it's funny because the Liberal is the Conservative,
yes,
and the Labour is the Progressive,
Labour is a
or
progressive
the
type stuff.
Liberal.
Yeah, that's the left leaning, and then the Liberals are right leaning, which is the opposite here. So,
Yeah.
So yeah, that is that's also the divide that we see on COVID here. Is there's a lot of rural states that are, saying that, hey man, we're not doing this business, and we're not doing what you want to do, what you're telling us to do. And then the cities, which arguably, if you're in a big city, you kind of have more like you said, the social distancing is pretty much baked into someone in the middle of Australia, right? But in a city where something like New York, it kind of follows that they would get hit hard because they do have a pretty good public transport system, right? Everyone's on top of each other. You think about it, someone with this thing coughs, right? Coughs on their hands or something, or coughs into their hand, or wipes their nose. They get on a subway, they sit down, or they hold the handrail and they cough in the subway. They leave the subway, the virus still stays in the subway, and then the next 6 hours, people get on and off and sit in that exact same spot, and this thing lives on all its surfaces for a while. Days, right?
Depending on the surface.
And then,
depending
depending on what it is, right? So public transport systems are I'm sure, are just, hotspots for it. Same with, you think about it, elevators, right? Elevators is a freaking box. It's a 2 meter by 2 meter box, and same thing. You cough into your hand.
Touching a button.
You touch a button with your finger, and then someone else comes by and touches the button from your same floor, touches that button, or the G button, right? Floor number 1, hits that button, and then, or someone coughs in the elevator, it stays in the elevator, and everybody in that building that takes the elevator gets it up and down, right? But and then if you have someone who is, say, has some health issues, they can't take the stairs, right? If they're on the 31st floor and they've had, say they're overweight, had cancer, something like that, there's no way they're going to take these stairs up 34 flights, right? They have to take the elevator, and they're probably the most at risk, which is why the, it compounds that sort of those issues in a big city, right? So somewhere like New York, tons of good public transportation, tons of elevators, tons of tall buildings. And every diner you have, like everywhere you eat, real estate is so valuable there that they are crammed in. Like a restaurant is so small. There's very little seating area. And even if you're sitting next to someone, you're back to back, and you're basically touching a stranger next to you, trying to eat a sandwich in a diner or something, right? It's no doubt why New York got hit as hard as it did, right?
Yeah. They did get it under control, didn't they? They eventually clamped down and brought it under control.
I guess that there is some of the policies that the mayor is Cuomo. He had some weird policy about elderly old folks' homes, the retirement homes, that instead of sending them to a hospital if they tested positive for COVID, they had a choice to either go to the hospital or stay in the home. Like, he sent them back to the home if they would try and go to the hospital, which infected more people, which is why the death count apparently went higher. I don't know all the details from that, but there was a policy of, do I take them out of the home or do I keep them there? And his job, and maybe he was up against the wall on the decision point. Like, maybe the hospitals didn't have any room, right? And he was up against it. Either you keep them in the hospital and they have to wait in the hallway, or you send them back to the home and infect more people. He might have been up against it, but one of those policies was pretty bad, and it ended up being a pretty high infection and mortality rate in many of the New York retirement homes because of that reason. I don't know all the details, but there was at least a couple of bad calls that, several hundred or maybe even a couple thousand of those New York deaths were avoidable, were kind of tied to that decision. Now, that's not to be said that if he had put them in the hospital, they were just going to walk out of there just fine.
Yeah, it may have ended up with the same result.
May have ended up with the same result. So there's some circumstantial things, but
yeah,
it was. But with a city like that that's on top of each other, there's nowhere to go. It's and even in order to go out and get groceries, right? Even if the grocery store's open, you can't avoid touching everybody and everything, right? Because it's just on top of each other. So it's a tough place. So Sydney is relatively spread out, right? It's kind of Houston size.
Compared to New York, it's spread out.
Only really the CBD, Central Business District, is pretty dense, right? That's where the buildings. But most people don't really live in the CBD. They live outside and commute in. So if they don't have to go in there,
similar story here too.
Right, and similar story, right, where the CBD is usually okay. So on the weekend, weekend morning, the downtowns is vacant because no one's working, and we're not partying yet, right? So
8 a.m. on a Saturday or Sunday, it's a ghost town.
It's a ghost town, right? And you would think, okay, well, all the money comes here. Monday through Friday, it's packed and people are shoulder to shoulder. Saturday a.m., Sunday a.m., it's a ghost town, right? Compared with Monday. So that's if you can vacate the CBD in most big towns, you're going to be fine, right? And you're not going to have too bad of infection rates. I compare it to Houston because that's where I grew up. Houston is very similar to Sydney, a harbor town, has a CBD, sprawls pretty well, has suburbs. Most people commute, etc. Similar size, even. City's a little bigger, and quite a bit bigger. But Houston has the same model and same sprawl as Sydney does. Compared to New York, I would imagine Sydney and Houston both did fine. In fact, they had a weird phenomenon where Houston has tons and tons of hospitals. They're a big medical community. Those hospitals are the opposite of overrun. They were preparing for getting overrun with cases and having not enough ventilators, etc. They're losing money and they're having to lay off nurses or furlough nurses and doctors because they shut off all the elective surgeries. And by elective, I mean not like plastic surgery where you can choose to, get a good nose or not a good nose, right? This is a heart surgery that, okay, you're going to need it sometime this year or you're going to die. So can you put that off? Yes, you can, but not for very long. Otherwise, you're going to have an issue. Or I need a knee surgery because I'm in pain all the time and I just got to schedule it in and fix my knee, or some sort of condition that you need to get fixed. Not even preventative, but just elective, fix-it things. All those are canceled. The only things that are really not canceled are the ERs, the emergency stuff, and pregnancies, which you can't cancel a pregnancy, right?
It comes when it comes. You can't tell it
right.
to operate on a different schedule.
Right. So you can't really cancel those. So the OB doctors, OB doctors are fine. They're still rocking and rolling, right? The non-emergent care was all kind of put off. So I talked to my doctor buddy, and he was saying that he says I've gone in and I've had my hours were reduced, and I took a week off, and because they furloughed me for a week to save some money. So I've been chilling home. I've had a great time with my family. I was like, what? Which I would have thought the opposite. He would have been rugged up and in the thick of it, and he's like, no, man, we're slow. We're super slow. So he says he says I make some decent money, so I had some savings as a doctor, as you would. So, but he says I feel bad for the rest of the hospital staff, that the orderlies and all that, because they're having to cut their shifts and all that business. So very different. It's similar city, big cities, but very, very different outcomes. And who knows? So So I mean, how I haven't really looked at any of the Australian cities, but have they been hit as hard?
Well, I can only go by my hospital experience from a few months ago because I don't actually know if I got it. I'm pretty sure I like 95% confident I did,
Mm-hmm.
and the end result was that they did their best to try and avoid me going into hospital.
Yes. Yes.
They did not want me.
Right. Yeah. If you weren't, yeah. Okay. So that's what I. Okay. So this is exactly my deal. So tell me your story, and then I'll tell you mine, because I had the exact same thing, and same outcome.
Yeah. So what was it? This was the end of March. I didn't have any like coughing or the fever or anything like that, and then I suddenly got up one day. I think it was like Thursday or Friday, and suddenly I just could barely breathe. And then it was like, I wonder if this is it. And then I wonder if this is COVID. But then there was no fever or anything. I was like, I don't know. Eventually did, I think like next day, call ambulance, and then it's like, all right, ambulance on the way. And then it went over to, and they called back, an emergency nurse called back, and then they started talking about the symptoms. Then it's just like, okay, let's refer you to an emergency doctor. I was like, instead of sending an ambulance, and then talk to the doctor, and it's like, you know what, it's just a bit of inflammation. It'll settle down in a few days.
Okay, but that's breathing. But if it doesn't, you got about 60 seconds, right?
Yeah. It's kind of important.
Kind of important. Yeah.
And then and he said, you know, if you can see a GP. So, you know, went on for a few more days, for another 2 days, and still could. So this is me, like I can barely do anything at this.
Really?
Like, I could get up, eat, and that's about it.
Really?
And then, yeah, we saw the GP. By the time I was thoroughly over it. This was Friday was when the worst of it started, and this is now Sunday was the ambulance, and then Tuesday was the GP. And he said, like he was saying he'd like to do like X-rays and all this sort of thing to see what's going on, but none of the clinics would take anyone who's not in the
urgent
medical,
right,
or urgent. And so he gave me this letter and then say, okay, go to the hospital and get them to do all this for you. And then so I go there, and they're like, and they sent me off to the testing clinic, and then they did all the checks, and they said, like, the first stage of checking is a checklist. Okay, so have you been overseas? You've been in contact with someone who's a known case, and they do the blood oxygen and temperature and all that, and everything came up clear.
Right.
Somehow I had good blood oxygen despite barely being able to breathe.
Really?
And even then, like, I was absolutely exhausted just from the walk.
Yeah.
The walk into the building, because like that's how much work it was. And even then, they're like, you know what? Even with all that, they say like, you don't have the symptoms, you don't qualify for testing.
Yeah.
On your way.
Right. Go on. Yeah. Right. Yeah, but
the doctor even took note of the fact that I was exhausted from walking there, and it still was like, "No,
on your way." Yeah. So that's okay. So that is exactly what happens with scarcity, right? So so that's what we saw with Italy, right? Italy was the first one of the West to get hit hard, right? China hits first, but China, you can't trust China. Don't trust China. China's asshole, right? But then Italy got hit hard, and the normal 2.5–3% death rate of COVID went to 8% because of triage and scarcity of ventilators, scarcity of intensive care beds, and scarcity of just normal testing resources. Right? They couldn't test everybody, and it was chaos. So that's what America saw in February and went, oh shit, here it goes. Let's lock down, right? And that's kind of why we got to where we had in March.
Yeah. Italy is probably the best indicator of where things are trending.
Correct. Right. I mean, yeah. So whatever was going on with Italy, that was our first real look at it, because all of the data coming out of China in January, February was just a mess. And China has done nothing in the last 20 to 30 years to build trust with anything,
Oh yeah.
with anyone
It's
or
not a
anything.
new thing.
Yeah,
It's not a new thing. Like we don't just.
Right.
Being in closer proximity, this is nothing to China. This is nothing new.
Right. So, okay, so same thing. Yeah, it's exactly right. So, I come home from PAX East, right? This is March 1st. I'm supposed to go home March 2nd. Saturday night, I've got a little sniffles, a little sore throat, and I'm feeling a little kind of okay, right? Feel a little down, and I wake up March 1st morning. I think it was a Sunday. We're supposed to go home Monday, and I'm at 27 hours before my flight is supposed to take off, and the 24 hour is when I can't change it. Otherwise, I got to cancel the trip. I got to pay a ton of money. But if I do it, I'm kind of at that decision point of, do I transfer my flight or not? I ended up taking like an hour I showered, I ate to see if it wasn't just something I could feel better on. I started looking at the news, all this business, and I think at the 25th hour before my before my flight took off, I swapped it over, came home early. $150 it cost me to come home a day early, to move it, sleep in my own bed, etc. And I said, look, I don't want to, because right about then we are seeing reports of people in, quote, military quarantine from airports in New York.
Yeah, that was when the airport scares were just ramping up.
Right. And I was going, man, I do not, if I stay here too long, I don't want to get caught in Boston and get stuck, right? So I changed my flight. There was one seat open on a flight, so I swapped over. Got lucky, and I basically went on the plane. It was a corner seat, which was I was up against the window, and I basically kind of had my head down and had tissues in my pocket, so I could just kind of keep my face away from everybody. I don't want to contaminate anybody. I don't know, who knows. Who knows if I had it? And I was just with 30,000 people, but it was in Boston, which is a crowded freaking city anyway, right?
That's another very dense, crowded city, isn't it?
It is. Good. Best I could tell you. Great public transportation.
They have the overhead trains, don't they?
A few places are above ground trains. Most of it was underground, at least in the north part where we were, I think. But they may have it in above ground other spots. But most of what we had was underground. It was way underground. They did a big dig a while ago, which was water and train related, I think.
Okay, I thought Boston was one of the cities where they had all of their trains above the street.
Now Chicago has a bunch of above city trains.
Oh, Chicago.
Might be Chicago. But most of the ones we rode were underground. But so I come home early. But here's the thing: every February of my entire life, childhood and adult life, I have seasonal allergies, right? Which if you run down those symptoms that you were talking about: sore throat, runny nose, a cough, a fever, fatigue. Like there's if you go WebMD, you can look up the symptoms, right? And I had everything except for fever, but I have that every year anyway, right? It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Maybe the thing in your
All
throat,
of them
right?
sound like allergies.
All of it sounds like allergies, right? Same stuff. So I come home. I could have been that. Could have been that. Yeah. And we're just trying to unpack all of that red tape. Everyone was getting information pieces. So I take a week off of work, and I say into work. I call into work and say, I'm working from home. All these reports that are coming out, I did just get done traveling. It was a trip I booked in November. I'm staying home a week. I'm quarantining myself in case it is. But I think it's allergies. I'm cool to work from home. Here I go. And I didn't really miss any work. And I just said I'm working from home for a week. Symptoms clear up except for a cough. And it's a weird cough. It's a dry cough, that's a big one. Did you have a dry cough?
That's a big red flag.
Big red flag. It was a dry cough. And you can go back to streams from that second week of March, and you'll see me coughing. And it's not like the hawking, phlegmy cough. It was a kind of a dry cough, and I drank so much water on stream. So I called. I did the same thing. I called, and I said to my doctor. So I was tired, but I just gotten done with a sickness and a travel, right? I was tired, but I was still, I was okay. I didn't have the fatigue that you did. So I called my doctor and I said, "Hey, can I come in and get a test?" And their questions were, "Talk to this person, talk to this," and their basic question was, "Are you dying?" And I said, "No."
The most fundamental thing.
Yeah, "Are you dying?" And they said, "If you're not dying, you don't get a test." So okay, he said, "We don't have enough tests. Unless you're dying, you're not getting a test," which was your case, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I said,
even then, calling an ambulance wasn't enough.
right. And so then I said, well, if I've got it, I can give, if I've had it and it's been X number of days, I probably have antibodies and I could give plasma. I'm willing to do that. And they said, "But are you dying?" And I said, "No." And they said, "Okay, well, you don't get a test. Unless you're dying, you don't get a test. That's it." So that goes on, and I'm kind of convinced I did, because and by the way, the wife is a nurse. She had a cough right around that same time. We're fairly healthy people, right? We exercise, all that jazz, and same thing. And so their statements to me in March were, unless you're dying, you don't get anything. You don't get a test. So then so fast forward to 2 weeks ago, I get an email from my mom, and she says, "Hey, they have a clinic, like an open air clinic in the south side of your town. You can go drive to and get a test. Here's a link. You go schedule it, all this other business, right?" And I said, "Great. Open air. That seems a little shady." So
Not dodgy at all.
They'll dodgy it all, right? So I called or whatever, and I had a video interview with a nurse, and she's asked me about symptoms, and she says, "Hey, are you have you been in contact with anyone who was sick or with symptoms?" And I said, "I bet I have," because I told her about PAX East, and it was 30,000 people there, right? And so she says, "Yeah, that'd probably qualify. It was early March, and it was doing the thing, right? It was just right around there, right?" And then I said, later on, Boston gets hit hard. There's a bunch of cases in Boston. Let me go back to the other. I had the Australian wiki up of the number of COVID cases, right? So then fast forward to that. They said, well, there's two kinds of tests. If you're having symptoms, then it's called an RNA test, and there's evidence of the virus being present. And that's the one where they stick that's the 7-inch Q-tip down the back of your nose, through your nose, and swab your throat, which is, that's so awesome, right? It's the good times, right? So they stick it all the way back in your nose, and they rub, and that's checking for the actual virus RNA, the evidence that the virus is present. That's if you're having symptoms, right? Then the other test is the antibody test to see if you have had it, right? And they said if you're having symptoms, the antibody test is not accurate, so don't get that. It's only 50-50, right? But if it's after 10 days of having had symptoms, you can pay for an antibody test to see if you have had it, right? It's all over. And the test was if you're insured, if you're insured, it was $0 covered by your insurance, or if it was uninsured, it was $65. And I said, done, right? Like let's do that. I want to see if I've had it and I've got antibodies, because that would give me comfort whether I get it again, etc. But it really wasn't changed my behavior, the reason why I got it. But the reason why I wanted this test, it was more to give me and my family peace of mind that, number one, yes, I got it. And number two, it really wasn't a big deal. Like, I don't have a whole lot to fear about getting it, or even maybe getting it again. Unless it's a different strain, of course, right? If it mutates, all bets are off.
Up to like 30 mutations now.
Right.
At least, probably more.
Right, but at least I've I've had it before. Wasn't a big deal, right? We can do it, right? So I go in there, and the nurse comes in, and she fires it up, and sticks me with the thing. And this is funny, right as she sticks me with the needle, she starts into an amazing coughing fit. of all the things. And she's like, "Oh gosh, I'm so sorry." This mask, and she has a mask on. I have a mask on, right? And she's coughing. She's turning away, but she is coughing like you wouldn't believe. And there is an active needle in my arm right now. You know, she alcohol swabbed it twice, whatever. But there is a thing, and she's coughing, and it's her hand is. She's kind of trying to hold it steady while she coughs, but it's hard to hold. Like, you're not going to be able to shoot a gun and aim at a target while you're coughing, right? Because it's a diaphragmic contraction, right? And she's holding a needle in my arm and coughing, and I'm going, oh, it's too late. What am I going to do? Leave now? But it's already done. Like, if she was coughing beforehand, then I had the choice. But I can't just walk out with this needle in my arm. So she gets done with her coughing
You're committed.
fit. I'm committed at that point, right? I can't. There's no action for me to take other than to hope, right? So she. Oh, I'm so sorry. And she's got gloves on, and she's doing the thing, and she's trying to cough into. She has a mask on, but she's trying to hold her mask and cough into her elbow so she doesn't cough into her hand, right? Because her hands are dealing with me. And so I immediately go into a cold sweat, right? I'm just the only thing I can do is sweat and panic, and so she thankfully it subsides, and she pops the thing off and gets it down. She says, "I am so sorry." I said, "I don't know what you could have done to avoid that, but I don't know. You may want to get one of your own tests." I just said, I guess if I don't now, and she said, "Yeah, I don't know what to tell you, man." And I said, "I don't know. Social distancing, keep at it, right?" And so she said, and it was 3 to 5 days. Comes back. This was on a Thursday, I think. It was a Thursday afternoon, Friday afternoon. Anyway, they emailed me back on Saturday because they send it off. They don't test it right there. They send it off.
It's got to go into a lab.
It's got to go into another lab, right? Because where I got it tested, you could either go to that open air. Oh, that's another one. I didn't go to the open air clinic. I went to because the word open air kind of seemed a little shady. There's a business that does urine testing and blood testing and all of that for businesses that do drug screenings and background, all of that sort of medical stuff. You piss test, make sure you're not on weed all the time, right, before you go get hired. And this is a place I went to, but 7 years ago or so, before I started working at my current job. I went to this one place and went, oh yeah, I remember that's where I did my piss in a cup test, right? And so she said, you could go there. I went, yes, sign me up for that place. They'll do your blood draw for you, but the results come back to us. She's like, you could go to the open air clinic and that will get next day because that's us and not someone else who's sending it off to us, right? And so I went to I said I can wait for the results. I'm not in a super hurry, but it came back basically the results. I got an email. I woke up Saturday morning with an email already in my inbox saying, hey, you are negative for antibodies. And I went, I was like, damn, I was hoping that I would have gotten it and then been, okay, I'm done, or at least the next time I get it, my body is more ready, or I may get it again, but it's not a big deal. I'm just going to be run down for a week, right? I'm just going to cough for a week is the same, right? So not the case. I was COVID negative, which is eventually not ideal. Like you want to have gone through it. Yeah, you want to have gotten it. You want to have gotten it and then done, and then at least know that it's not going to be. You have a good chance of not having it be a big deal, right? So, bummer. So, what I would recommend to you, Mojo, and everyone, if you think you've had symptoms, look around for these places in the city, in big cities that are. Should roll out to like this one. There's some Manipool from UK says there's some chemists that are rolling out home tests soon for 80-90 quid. You can give it a shot.
That's expensive.
That's expensive. Yeah, this one was mine was $65, but I had insurance, so they covered a thing. I don't know what give it a miss is. Miss is a you skip it.
skip it. Yeah.
You skip it? Oh, okay. The chances of permanent damage?
The AI interpreting language there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's chance of permanent damage or whatever, but I mean, I was back to my normal exercise routine in a week and a half, 2 weeks, and I was doing fine. Didn't really lose a ton of cardio or anything. I was running my normal 5K, in the mornings. So, I don't know.
Well, then you haven't had it because it. Some people, it can really wreck your lungs.
It wrecks it. It wrecks it pretty good, right? But
it does some damage.
Yeah, that's the thing is that if I don't have any symptoms and there's no, I would have liked a permanent check. I would have liked an antibody check mark because I haven't had any. I barely had any damage at all, or any temporary or permanent, right? So I still would have liked. I still would have liked it, but I don't think we're going to be able to avoid it. Right. At some point, everyone will.
Eventually, you're going to get it.
Everyone's going to get something, some strain of it, and then we're gonna have to deal with it. I mean, the projections are that 80% of the U.S. is going to get it at some point, right? Right.
Yeah, it's just so infectious that it's eventually just going to find its way around.
It's going to find its way around, right? It's the R value, which is it kind of measure of infection rate. The R value of the flu is like somewhere around 1. Let's see, R value. I think I have that thing in a picture. If I can find it again. Let's see if I can find that. Hang on. There's a comparison of the R values. Let's see. Hang on. I've favorited so many things like cognitive biases and all that sort of stuff.
That's a whole study in itself.
Yeah. Head, eyes. Give me just a second. Let's see if I can get it. Let's see if I can find it. R value. Okay. Flu versus COVID. Let's see if I can just find an image of it. How's the flu compare? Yes, here we go. Just an image search. Open image in new tab. This is what I was looking for right here. Okay. Okay, displaying on the screen right now is the flu has a R0 number, right? How many people will be infected by the average person? 1.3. So you may infect one person and change. This one is 2 to 2.5. Right, bottom of the range 2.5, top of the range is 2.5. That's big, right? And then the other incubation time. This is another one that makes it so bad. Is that you get hit by the flu in like a day or two, you're gonna be hurting. You can self quarantine. This one is so bad. This one's so diabolical that you could go up to 14 days without showing symptoms and not even know you've got it. And then all that time you're just in the elevators, riding around. You're at diners. All that time. You're at PAX East having a great time. PAX East could have easily fit in between this number, right? And then hospitalization rate. That's what's so expensive and so diabolical. And the fatality rate is anywhere between 1 to 3 and 4%. Like this bottom number jumped to 7 or 8%, and this is why everybody freaked out early on in mid-March, is because this number jumped up to like 7 or 8% because of medical scarcity, right? That's what happened. That's Italy, and the whole rest of the civilized world was looking at Italy, going, "Holy shit, this is what happens," So that's why the over aggressive lockdown, right? And the silent assassin is this incubation time, right? It could be slowly making its way everywhere and killing everybody. And that's why I thought, for sure, I was just at a convention with 30,000 people, right?
It's in a location which had a huge breakout.
Huge breakout, right? And it was a huge breakout. I was going, okay, I'm for sure I would have had it, right? For you, it might have been differently. I don't know if you had attended a 30,000 people convention in Australia when you were getting it. But I'm going, if there's ever a candidate it's got to be, if there's ever a candidate, I had some of the symptoms and I was at a convention. It had to have been me, but I guess I was wrong. So that was worth paying for me to know differently. Again, I don't think I would have done anything different, right? I still take precautions. I wear a mask. Asking someone to wear a mask is on the level of effort scale, it's a 1 out of 10, and it's not a requirement. It's a request, right? I wear it. Fine. Yeah, you request me to do some stuff, I'll do some reasonable stuff, right? Anyway, so I'm negative. So Mojo, what I would look for is a testing facility. It might be worth it for you to go get your blood drawn and go confirm.
Yeah, once that becomes available.
Yeah.
I need to check again. It's been a little while since I last looked. It's because the testing. Testing is a bit strange because like you say testing, but then there's, like as you say, there's the antibody test, there's the swab, and then there's just the test as in the questionnaire, which is the one that I went through, which then leads into the
But that's not. But that's not a test, right?
No, that's just a questionnaire.
It's a question.
It's a survey.
Yeah. If you fill that out, you cannot then say I was tested for COVID. You can't. You can't say that. That's not a thing.
They even gave me a signed sheet saying that I don't meet the requirements. I can't be tested at this time.
Yeah. Okay, I get that during scarcity, right? Later on, and once we figure it out, we'll get into it more. But I would recommend the antibody test. So.
Yeah, that's the hope, is that becomes more available, then we can do that.
Right. Okay.
Oh, I'd actually forgotten too before. The scarcity of medical supplies here, because China, when they first started having the outbreak at the end of last year, they just started stealth buying up all the equipment and shipping it back over.
Yes.
I don't know if you heard about that.
Yeah, they would. Yeah, they would. They just started without raising any eyebrows because it's like a market, and if anyone starts mass selling, there's going to be panic in the market. And everybody's going to sell, or when someone hoards. Someone in my chat said this. Did the toilet paper thing happen in Australia?
Yeah.
What? That's the craziest thing. Toilet paper, right? Okay.
Yeah, a bunch of other random items were also scarce as well.
Yeah.
Like pasta.
It's so crazy. Oh, what? Noodles?
Not so much. It did include noodles, but all your kinds of pasta. There's the Italian in me not making noodles. Is not pasta. Noodles and I'll tell you it now.
Listen here, Mister Noodles.
Just the tiny little trace of Italians in there, and the blood is boiling.
Well, I mean, unpack it for us if you want to, if you want to say. But what types of things disappeared, right?
What was it? It was like it varied week to week. Toilet paper was one of the consistent one, and things like paper towel, things that were easy substitutes.
Yep. Right.
Any canned food, particularly canned tomatoes.
Right.
And and pre-packaged sauces.
Okay.
Like you have like a jar of like a pasta sauce or a cream sauce, something like that. They tended to disappear. Then there was a phase when things like rolled oats disappeared, and rice.
Rolled oats. Weird. Okay. Weird. Very weird. But eggs did. Yeah. Shady says.
I don't remember eggs.
Yeah. There's a fat guy is a guy from Badger Stream. What country was he in, Shady? He said that he didn't notice toilet paper scares like crazy, but eggs disappeared. Frozen veg. Darth Lighty says frozen veg disappeared. Norway. Yeah, toilet paper is the weirdest one. I guess that's the first thing they think about is can I go poop during a panic, right?
Yeah, frozen veg. Flour. That's the other one.
Flour and bread, right?
Yeah, and it's interesting. Like pre-packaged, it varied with the pre-packaged meals. Like your frozen pizzas, your frozen, what have you. Sometimes there'll be a lot. Sometimes they'll just be bare.
Yeah.
Very random.
Well, here's the other thing. Okay, so we in October. No, okay. In the summer, my freezer went out. So while the kids were away, wife and kids were away in Australia, my freezer cratered. My outdoor freezer. I have this little outdoor freezer. I think I paid $20 for it 10 years ago. It was used. Worked great. We had to go get it, brought over, and it's worked for years. And it just zapped. It went out. Motor went out. Got all my use for it. So I had to clean all this stuff out. Pitched the freezer. Took it to the dump, or whatever, right? Disposed of it properly, etc. So we were in the market for a new one, but then we were kind of hemming and hawing what kind of get. We want to get an upright, but then the ones we saw were expensive. So we were going to say, okay, we're just going to wait. We're going to be patient buyers. And so we were without a freezer for 6-9 months, right? Suddenly the pandemic hits, and now we need a damn freezer.
Yeah, so you can do your own stockpiling.
And we're like, okay, well, we're going to need to we want to freeze some stuff anyway. So then what we do is we go out and look for freezers, and we actually talk to a guy locally who sells them, all that, because we're trying to figure out which one we get. He says, he's talking to the wife. He says, ma'am, I cannot keep them in stock. He says, they're back ordered 6-8 weeks because everybody now wants a freezer.
They're just flying out the door now.
They're flying out the door. And he says, I could charge double for them, and they would, I'd still sell them all out. So, good luck. I'll write your name down. We'll call you if we get one, but don't expect anything. And they were immediately gone from Amazon, Lowe's, all of our hardware stores. All the freezers disappeared. All the good ones. Most of what we could get was a small refrigerator with a freezer portion. But that's not it. We want to dedicate
combo units.
Yeah, combo. But the freezer itself, most of those gone because everybody was hoarding. And one of the interesting things, someone came into my chat, said, I was going, why a toilet paper is so weird, and he says, no, it makes perfect sense. He says all it takes is kind of a very small amount of people to hoard something. And then he said, I forget who it was. They said when anyone hoards, the logical thing to do for everyone is to hoard.
Yeah, do the same thing.
When one person hoards, the logical thing to do for everyone is hoard. And I went, it's right. It's kind of right, And it's not, and that's reasonable. People are now forced into a decision point of, okay, is that what I had? And it's not even, he says it's not even a feeling based thing, it's a logic based thing. So he says you're acting on instinct, but you're also acting in a logical manner because you kind of want those things, right?
Yeah. Right.
Can you remember the last time you were out of food? No. Can you remember the last time you were out of toilet paper? Yes, I can. That's true. That's true. That's a great point, Wheatlaw. That's great. People can imagine being out of toilet paper, not being out of food. Right. That's right. So hoarding toilet paper is logical, right?
Trying to think of I know there's been a few news articles of people who have come out because they, the professional hoarders that were recent. I'm trying to think.
Yes.
There was one that came out here.
Oh, that's right.
There was someone who had, because there was one in the US where they had $40,000 worth in their garage that they can't move anymore because Amazon basically booted them off.
That's right.
For price gouging.
I do remember.
The first one.
Yeah, I remember.
There was one here as well. At least one here, possibly two here as well that came out.
Yep. I remember there was a story from Australia that said that there was some guy who was basically a hoarding reseller, and now that the panic was over, he wanted to return them all, and nope, sorry.
Yep.
You're gonna eat 10 grand worth of paper, man. I don't know.
Yep. Yeah. The all the supermarkets here, they within a week of the initial craze, the signs went up saying update of policy and returns.
Yeah.
Change your mind returns.
Yeah, no returns and limit 2, or whatever you want, right?
Yeah,
you limit 2.
Yeah, there's a limit. I think the limit came later, but the returns thing was pretty much in.
Yeah, pretty much immediately, right? Yeah, there was $100,000. Well, yeah, I don't remember. I don't
Yeah, it
remember.
was a
It
huge
was a
amount
huge
of
amount.
stock that he
Yeah,
had. It was like a two. I might be remembering it wrong with the other one. 'Cause I think because there was another one which was like 40,000 US dollars worth of stock,
right.
something like that. Was another one. Yeah, this guy. It's like a second floor garage, which is just packed completely with stuff that he'd gone around and bought.
Yeah. I mean, it is just to be clear. It is a risk venture, right?
Oh yeah,
you're playing. You're basically playing the stock market in. You're playing the stock market of toilet paper, and your symbol is TP, right? your stock symbol is TP. That's the only difference of what you're paying. It's supply and demand and all that business, right?
it's a big gamble too, 'cause like
It's totally big
you're going to
gamble.
move it, but without it being shut down, and also the other thing is like you might get a little bit of a hit of money, which pays for itself plus extra. But
Right.
then, how far does that get you? How far does that extra money get you? Does it give
Right.
you like a boost for 1 month?
Yeah, and how much of it do you have to sell to break even? Like, what's your markup
Yeah,
on it? Do I really? Who's going to be my? Do I have to make hundreds of thousands of individual sales, or can I sell it to a broker or something for, can I offload it to
mm,
somebody or? And at some point, if it really goes sideways, I'm going to need some armed guards or something, right? Because if it's really valuable, this, I don't know, man. So
I'd love to see the
yeah.
economics of how something like that works.
Right. We would probably never see that because it's so off. It's so off border. But we would really have to get the economics by someone who's done it successfully, and like have a professional toilet paper salesperson, a toilet paper broker on. We have to talk to him. So I always wondered that. Horse from chat says, how are the Amish, etc., coping with COVID? People who are outside of say Western civilization, or tribes in say Africa who are live in very tribal communities and don't have a lot of outside contact, or they have occasional outside contact when someone goes to a certain place once a week and brings back supplies, or remote sections, remote contact. We would probably see that something similar in the middle of Australia, where you have country living, where they go quote into town once every 2 weeks or
Once a
once a
week or
month.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. Or the Amish. The problem with that though is they're probably not getting tested, right? So
Yeah.
we're not going to see any results. And it's like so the greatest example of that is probably India, right? India is a very sharp pyramid. It's a parabolic pyramid of
It's
wealthy.
it's a unique place.
It's a unique place. It's super wealthy at some points, and then the amount of poor is staggering, right? And it's
Yeah.
relatively Western in that they allow open news. They've got cell phones. They're on the internet with us, right? They're on the same internet we are. Granted, there's a language barrier for us to go report on because they have what, they got 23 languages over there, something crazy,
Yeah, something like that.
or thousands of dialects or whatever. So there's Telugu, Tamil, and Hindi are the main three, but then after that it goes on down. So there's probably translations, language barriers, but for a long time, for a while, the number of COVID tests, I would keep getting these reports. And to see COVID by country. Let's see if we can do this. See if we can see this coronavirus live update by country. Here we go.
It's actually
There we are.
interesting because talking with one colleague who's from India originally, and talking about the testing and over there, and they were adamant that yeah, but we testing everyone, and I was like, yeah, they'll test
No,
the
you're
high
not.
car.
No, you're not. Right.
No, you're not.
So look
You're
here.
not testing the low castes.
In terms of people, China's number one, and you cannot trust any of this business down here.
Assuming they test it. It's actually, as a side note, it's a similar story with the countries near China too. Like,
Yeah.
who was it? Taiwan, I think,
Mhm.
who was really low. Yeah, can't necessarily trust what they say either.
Yeah. Right. Somewhere in April, there was a report that 20-something million people disappeared off of the cell phone networks in China.
Oh, yeah.
And that's right after the week before they kicked out the journalists. Right? They made a big deal of no more American journalists. You're out of here. Right? They're not going to report to anybody. So only
That's
Chinese
right.
journalists kicked everybody out. The next week, 20-something million people disappeared off the Chinese the cell phone network. Who knows what the hell happened with that? Right? Not saying it was whatever. They removed redundant phone account. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Whatever. China. My point is, if it happened in the UK, it would be okay. We've got some stuff here in the UK. Probably get out there. UK has reasonable, trustworthy data, right? There's nothing that China has done in the last 20 years has given me given anybody any reason to trust China. That's it, flat out, right? Now, number 2 in terms of population is India. They're jam-packed, man. They are just completely jam-packed with people. Over 1 billion people in India. They are, and their cities are super dense. They have Pune and in Mumbai is like New York. They are shoulder to shoulder in there. They are not
even denser than New York.
even more dense than New York. There's no physical way you can test. I don't mean necessarily to blame them, but there is no way they're testing everybody, right?
No. There's
no way they're testing everybody. Number 3 in population is the U.S. and there's testing everybody. There's journalists everywhere, and they're racing to. They are financially motivated to make sure these numbers are broadcast, right? So, and in fact, they're arguing that these are higher. Like the higher these go, the better the journalists look. So, in fact, these may be overinflated because if there were even reports because of the way that the laws were, the way that the stimulus packages were written. If someone came in with stage 4 cancer and COVID, and they died in the hospital of the cancer and organ failure from the cancer, they would even call it a COVID death, and they would say, okay, we're going to count that in this tally because we could get more stimulus money from the government to keep our hospital afloat if we called it a COVID-related death versus a cancer-related death. And it's a and with the rest of your hospital shut down, a hospital administrator is having to make some really hard decisions, right? At one hand, I could just check this box and I'm kind of justified and I could keep my staff employed. Or I can be straight honest, not check this box, and I may have to lay some people off, some hardworking people off, my employees off next month, right? I'm not saying it's a hard decision, right? So that's why we're number 1. But look at so go down the list and think about the poor and the outcast in many of these countries underneath the U.S. Right? We already talked about China. We talked about India, Turkey, right? Tons of poor. Brazil, tons of poor, right? Peru,
Brazil would be
Iran,
another big one. Oh yeah, Peru,
right?
Be another one as well. In
Tons,
similar sort of situation.
Right, tons and tons of poor who they may just die. They're not necessarily not getting tested. All of these cases, etc. Super dense populations. Not very many people. Just old people just dying for. He just died. He was old. I don't know. Natural cause. I don't know. It could have been COVID. Might not have been. Right.
Which one is? So is South Korea was one of the ones countries they said they were doing the most testing.
Yes,
wasn't it?
Yes. South Korea took the lead on testing, and they took the lead on lockdown, social distancing, and testing, and they got it really good. Like they did everything right and reported. Like accurate reporting. They did it all right. So if you want to model your country after after one of these, do the South Korean model. Oh, not Serbia, South Korea, right here. They did everything right.
What their testing was though, because if they did the most of it, how were they doing the testing? Because as we were talking about before, where there's limited supply of the swab testing.
Right. They may have just acted quickly in November, right? and just said, okay, hey, this thing is coming. We're buying that. We're buying some tests. We're going to do the thing. They do a lot of smart stuff. I mean, I don't know. I'm going to tell you. So.
Because I remember seeing quite a few clips where they would just have someone with one of those laser thermal guns, and like, maybe does that count as test? That's something you got to watch out for.
Right. That means
sort of what I'm alluding to.
Right. They're behind. Yeah, they might have been behind. I don't know. Yeah. Or I guess there's a difference in screening and testing, right? Because if you have fever, you may not have it verified, but you can be screened and go, okay, you're isolated. You're out of the crowd, right? So maybe they had some screening.
At least it has some. At least that level of screening is a good word to say.
Right.
It's or apt description. It at least gives some indication that something might be going on.
Right. Oh man, what a crazy world, man! Well, all right, all right. Let's wrap up with this. What are your predictions? Like, what do you think is going to change in the new world because of this?
Ooh. I think travel's going to change.
Yeah, I'm hopeful for new planes. Right, I'm hopeful for a different way of traveling in a plane.
It's going to be a lot more. Planes are already very run on a margin already.
Oh, yeah.
That's why we're running planes from 40, 60 years ago.
Right.
Still.
Yeah, planes are a weird market because to make a new one is a ton of capital investment, right? And they have their engines and all of that gutted every X number of thousand miles they fly, and it's required, and they have to. And it's basically, I mean, if you're in the private plane market, you'd buy a plane from the 70s, right? And you could gut it completely with the engines and all of that, and it's perfectly fine because you basically bought a new plane in terms of its reliability, because the welds hold up for X number of jillion miles, but the engine is what goes out, right?
I'm trying to think. It's Granddad's axe. That's that kind of thing with plane.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Where the axe head wears out, so you replace the axe head. The handle wears out, so you replace the handle. Is Granddad's axe still the same?
Yes, exactly. It's exactly right. It's Granddad's axe. That's right. That is exactly right. The planes are like that. So I don't begrudge the airline industry for having tons of old planes and the bodies, right? But like, I always had, if you remember, did you ever see Fifth Element? Right.
Yeah, I haven't seen that in a while, though.
They got into, when they were going from their intergalactic travel, they got into going to that cruise ship. They got into a ship that had horizontal seats, basically horizontal tubes that you would just get in, right?
Oh, that's right, yeah, the little sleeping bays.
Little sleeping bays. Like, they have those in Japan a lot, too, where you could just go in and buy one of those and nap, right? Fifth Element sleep pod. Yeah, I'll see if I can show that. But they basically there we go. That's it. Open image in tab. Okay, so here, this is what I want for travel. They basically put you in a. They have the flight attendant is here. They put you into a pod. They hit a button. You just sleep. That's it. It's yours. And then they could blast some sort of, cleansing air in there and dust, ship it out and clean antiviral, or wash it out with soap and water or something and brush it out. That's your jam right there, right? I saw that in the Fifth Element. Whenever I saw that, it was years ago, right? And I went, this is what I want all the time for air travel. I would totally fly in a plane like this. That's what I want for air travel, right?
You'd hate to fly. You hate to fly and be claustrophobic.
Mm-hmm. Right. My father-in-law, the Australian, always said, you know what, we're not going to be able to, with the security thing after 9/11, he said, we're going to have to get into paper suits like hospital gowns and get on a plane pretty soon, right? We never had to we haven't had to do that yet, but in order for you to not have anything on you like you're going to take down a plane, you just get into a hospital gown and then that's what you wear on a plane. like, I think this pushes us closer towards that day or that prediction, right? All right. Well, what else? That's an interesting one, right?
Cash.
Cash. Okay. Explain.
Yeah, it's a good way to or cash money is a good way to spread germs and the virus.
Oh, cash. Yeah, you're right. Cash is filthy.
That would wipe out cash in pretty much, depending on the country, it'd probably wipe it out. The usage because as soon as it's kicked up, I stopped using money for cash in hand for all sorts of. I use it for buying coffee. Just stop straight out.
Really? Oh man, yeah, that's a good one. Cash. That's a good one.
Could be like in a year's time, we could be 100% contactless worldwide.
Yep. F for cash.
For most countries, F, yeah.
Yeah, F for cash. Pin pads at the store, at the ATM, maybe, or just gloves. One of my predictions was PPE for office workers. So like me, I'm in an office. I think I'm going to get PPE forever now. Right. PPE is personal protective equipment. So gloves and a mask. I think that's going to be standard issue for cube workers now.
So how common is contactless credit cards? Because everything here, if you want to pay for something, you just tap the card and it's done.
Right.
You don't touch a pin.
My card really doesn't get touched by the person anymore, right? They don't take it out of my hand anymore. I put it into a little machine, right, and take it out. So I guess person comes along before me and licks their card and sticks it in the machine, and then I come along the second time and stick it in the machine and scan it again. Those, you have to put in with the chip in and do not remove card, and you remove it too early, and a beep 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 beep. There's that whole drama about when to remove the card. So yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, it's very different.
Things like PayPass, PayWave, it's very common for pretty much everything.
Yep. So on the last one we did, my prediction was that we were going to have. I thought about the end of smoking in casinos, because right,
that's one of the last big refuges.
It is. So bingo parlors, casinos, and cruise ships, because you can gamble. It's all gambling, right? You want to gamble and smoke, right? I thought it was going to be like that, and turns out I was wrong, because on the last Enough About You, we unpacked a casino that had guidelines. This is starting from Florida and New Jersey. They are reopening casinos, and a couple things was that every other slot machine was shut down, so that people had to sit one slot machine apart. There was basically hockey rink plexiglass around tables now, so that there was a sneeze guard on tables, and basically only your hands went through to go handle the chips. I guess you're still handling chips now, right? But you're just not going to be able to sneeze. All the patrons had masks, right? And then the guidelines were that the rules for the casino were 100% masks. Everyone gets a mask, and at every exit and every entrance, 24 hours a day, there's a fever scanner. There's someone scanning with one of those little red infrared deals that they rub across your forehead, right? Or stick in your ear and beep beep. And if you got a fever, you're out of here. No entrance. Masks required, and here was the kicker, Mojo. I thought it was going to be the end of it, but nope. Vegas marches on. It was mask required all in the lobby at all times, except for number 1 when you want to take a drink, and number 2 when you want to have a smoke. They put in those stipulations so you could still drink and you could still smoke. And you can pull your mask down, take a swig, and put it back up.
It's big money for them to bring in to let the smokers in.
Yep.
So it makes good business sense.
Yeah, lowers inhibitions, relax you a lot. You want to sit down and smoke and hang out, right? You gotta love Vegas. It's like it marches on no matter what. That was it. Smoking and drinking marches on, because we were talking about last time. Pornhub and Vegas are these machines, these revenue generating machines without a stigma.
Oh yeah.
They have no stigma about what is really going on here. Like Pornhub analytics, this is what analytics would be at every company if we didn't give a damn about what everybody thought of us. And that's why Pornhub has the best analytics on the planet. It's so great.
And it's why it has such what you call it, market presence. Like
Market
even
presence.
for people, or just general presence, is because they have no shame.
They have no.
just put
There's
it out
no
there.
stigma. There's no barriers. There's no stigma about what it can and can't measure, and so they push into those markets, right?
It's
Because
incredibly smart.
yeah, because we have it
marketing.
at my company. We're kind of a global company. We deal with GDPR, and can we publish this person's name, and can we publish this person's location, and we're tracking it, and we can't store it. We can track it, but we can't really display it because it could be used nefariously because of privacy laws. Like, we're very cognizant of that. Pornhub? Nope. Nope. The people from France, like, they search up this term, they click at this time of day, and they like this kind of porn, and that's it. Here we go. That's so great.
It's all out in the open.
And Vegas is kind of the same way. Like, look,
Yeah.
we're trying to have a good time here. Smoke and drink all you want. No mask required because the statistically, the drinking and the smoking is going to kill you way faster than COVID will. Like, it statistically is. That smoke is going to kill you. Smoking X number of cigarettes a day is going to kill you way faster than COVID will, because the interesting statistic was the average age at which people die of COVID is greater than the average age that people die. Let me say it again. The average age of people that die from COVID is greater than the average age that people die.
So if you you have more chance of dying from COVID if you're above the curve.
Yes.
In terms of average life expectancy.
That's right. So, yeah, it's crazy, right? So that means
as soon as
the average age of people that die from smoking is under the average age that people die, right? So that smoke that you're pulling your mask down for, keep right on trucking, because we're not interested in human life. We're interested in you feeling good right now. Let's go.
want to make sure you feel good. I want to make sure you empty your pockets.
That's right. Because let's go. That's the commitment we have to safety right there, right? All right. Well, very interesting. Thanks for talking with me today, man. Interesting conversation. It's been great. I'm glad you had that experience we could share with getting turned down for a test. Are you dying? No. Piss off. Walk it off, son.
Walk it off. You'll be fine.
You'll be fine. Mojo, what do you got coming up this week that everybody can go check out?
So I don't know. You're probably asleep at the time when I've been doing my other game, because it starts at 3 a.m. Pacific time. But that's good. Later today we're going to be finishing off Stardew Valley.
Yeah.
And we're going to move on to Slime Rancher, and that starts at
Slime Rancher's great. I've got it. I think I've fired it up once, and it was great. It was well done. I agree.
Yeah. It's a very nice game. I got it for half price when the Steam was doing the I think it's still going on, the sale that they got, the publisher sale. So yeah, I'm gonna try hopefully wrap up Stardew, get that happening later on in the week.
Yep.
Then Wednesday is more Crash Story.
Yeah.
Which will be Tuesday, everyone else's time. That's I think it's 8 p.m. PDT, 12 a.m. CE.
Yeah. Crash Storio is a well-done mod. I don't know your feelings about that, but it is well done. I like it a lot.
Well done.
I like it
it's
a lot.
Finally it's the kind of mod I've been conversion mod I've been looking for a very long time.
Yes.
One that does a properly, completely well integrated total conversion.
Yep.
It isn't just, a dumb truck full of stuff.
Yes, agree. And it's well balanced. It's got it, and it's a one-stop shop. You don't need to add warehouses or loaders or any of that. It's got all that built in,
too.
right?
It's got it all in.
It
doesn't add some kind of crazy item which is game breaking.
Right.
Like some of the others do.
It's really good. I agree. It's great. So yeah, look for Mojo for that. We're doing something similar. So Shady, go check him out. Get up at 3 a.m. Pacific and go check out Mojo, or stay up.
Or stay up. That's it.
Yeah, Shady at that time. Shady's more likely to stay up than to get up. So,
I should. Oh yeah, for the breakdown time zones, that's 3 a.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. my time, Australian Eastern Standard Time, and
Right.
12 p.m. I think it is CEST, Central Europe.
right. All right. Well, for me, I'm gonna do tomorrow. I've got my normal. I'm gonna do some Crash Story with the subs. I may start early. Actually, I may do an early stream tomorrow since it's a holiday. I may start early with Ash and do some more Terraria. We're having a great time with Terraria. It's super good. It's one of the greatest games on planet Earth. Tuesday night will be the nuke integration base, and then because of the trauma, I will have to take Wednesday off and get some sleep because I'll never sleep good after that. And then, so my normal Wednesday off, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we'll do Thursday, Friday, we'll do Factorio, and probably we're going to stick to the weekends with me and Ash doing Terraria. We're getting some great support, great hosts. The numbers aren't too terribly off from swapping games, and Terraria is such a great game. We're having such a great time, so we'll probably stick to the weekends of Terraria and Crash Storio and see how far we can push that Crash Storio base. It's looking really good. We're getting into the end game now in Crash Storio, so we'll go for a little while longer, and then we'll do something else.
Should do some Terraria sometime. I have Terraria, but I had a go at it, and I couldn't quite get into it. I think I need some guidance.
Oh man, Badger's a little more advanced play. It's like a brand damn new player coming into to watch me play Factorio. Me and you play Factorio. It'd be a little daunting at some point, right? So we have to go out of our way to make someone feel welcome in something like that. So what we'll end up having to do is Terraria. I'm probably a good person to watch. Or if you're just starting on Terraria, I'm probably a good person to watch. Badger's always good, but he's speed running. He's doing all the advanced stuff. It's like trying to watch anti-elites and learn how to do oil by watching anti-elites. He's doing, he and Nephrons are doing some advanced shit that you're not going to catch, right? So
there's some very nuanced stuff going on with speedrunning oil in Factorio.
Yep, and Badger's like that. So you want to see an incredible Terraria player, you watch him. Check out somebody who's a little more slow going, maybe Dizzy or me on the weekends. That'd be good. All right. Thank you very much for being here, everybody. Let's do Badger's normal sign-off. Stay motivated. If you're motivated, you can do anything. Stay awesome because you're already awesome. And remember, go wash your hands. I'll salute from Mojo. Go wash your hands.